This is May We Meet Again, a short story written by myself. Janus hadn't expected to encounter much when strolling through the forest. The faint chirping of birds and crunching of his feet atop crisp autumn leaves was nothing unusual. Just another ordinary walk. Another ordinary chance at temporary peace. Another ordinary moment away from the clutches of society. Though nothing can ever truly be ordinary, can it? Quietly, he ambled along a worn path, leaves rustling beneath the soles of his shoes and wind blowing softly through his hair. The trees were covered in an arrangement of assorted oranges and yellows, balanced by caramel trunks. Portions of the sky peeked out from behind the warm-colored leaves, bathing the rest of the forest in golden sunlight. Janus truly admired the beauty of the world currently surrounding him, though he also knew of the charm that lay underneath the surface. He allowed his eyes to slip closed, taking in the wonder hidden within. Still advancing forward, he tuned into the sounds of the woods. There was no need for sight, as he knew this route by heart, having traveled through it hundreds of times. The tap-tap-tapping of a woodpecker against an oak tree provided the perfect rhythm for his feet as he supplied the melody, humming gently with each step. He constructed a tune hand in hand with the forest, every creak and chitter proving a new harmony. Janus allowed himself to get lost in the arrangement, not caring if he was following the path anymore. The melody became beautifully unpredictable, following the direction it deemed to be right for the time. No rules applied as Janus swayed through the trees, fully immersed in a world without unjust laws and cruel beliefs. Nature was wild and uncertain, but best of all, it was free. He allowed his volume to grow, enveloping the world in a continuous song. Janus almost hadn't noticed the second voice duetting his own. It was like nothing he had ever heard before, flowing freely through the air with a gentle confidence and edged with tranquility. It was almost too wonderful to be real, though it most certainly was. Finally registering what had occurred, Janus's eyes shot open, and he jumped back as a man came into view. He tripped backwards, having landed crooked upon the uneven soil, and proceeded to fall to the ground. "Oh my gosh! Are you all right?" There it was. That voice again. Janus brushed the soil from his shoulders, sitting up and finally gaining a glimpse at who the voice belonged to. A tall man stood before him with auburn hair and bright green eyes. He wore a red t-shirt and a cream jacket rolled up at the sleeves. A dampened confidence surrounded his expression, appearing to almost be hesitant. For a moment, Janus almost forgot that he had been asked a question, though as he looked once again to the stranger's concerned expression, everything came flooding back to him. He quickly stood up, stumbling a second time as he attempted to right himself. A hand instantly reached out, catching Janus before he could come into contact with the forest floor once again. "Careful!" the man exclaimed, pulling Janus back to his feet. "We wouldn't want you to fall again, now would we?" I do suppose that would be favorable," Janus stuttered, still frazzled from the sudden contact. "I hate to be repetitive, but are you okay? You seemed a little alarmed from your first fall." "I'm fine. You just startled me. I usually don't expect visitors in this section of the woods, especially not someone with the ability to harmonize as well as you." "You heard that?" The man flushed. "I'm really sorry. I just heard you humming and I couldn't help but add on." "There's no need to apologize." "Oh, but I must. After all, it would be incredibly unchivalrous of me to simply say nothing." "If you're searching for something to say, could I know the name of the one who managed to catch me so off guard?" "Roman." The man smiled softly. "Roman Ashford." "Well, Roman Ashford, I must say it's a pleasure to meet you." "It is wonderful to meet you as well, Mr. Roman glanced at him expectantly. "Janus. Curran, though I doubt you would ever need to be that formal." "Anything is possible." So, Roman, what brings you this far into the woods? I've been traveling this path for years, and I had yet to see anyone here until you. Roman's eyes lit up at the mention of this, a bright smile spreading across his face. I have quite the magnificent reason. I had heard of a place around here that is well hidden, though once you find it, the beauty inside is unmatched. I figured that if this forest is already so enchanting on its own, that mystery place can only be even better. And you believe such fairy tales? How could you not? I have been through enough of life to deduce that anything containing a happily ever after ceases to exist. In a world in which too many flaws occur within our society, it would be impossible to gain such happiness. That's not true, Roman started, his eyes filled with a saddened sympathy. Trust me, society's imperfections are something I would never lie about. Roman perked up at this, a look of determination flashing through his eyes. Well, this simply won't stand. I beg your pardon. Janus, you and I are going to find that hidden wonder within these very woods. You need a real-life fairy tale, and I am going to help you discover it. That really isn't necessary, Janus started, though as his fingers became intertwined with Roman's, every reason he had against going vanished. He was immediately whisked forward, pulled along by Roman, who seemed to be almost radiating excitement as they ran. They rounded trees, following an invisible path through piles of leaves and twigs. Janus nearly avoided tripping over stray roots and stumps several times, having to quickly dodge multiple obstacles. For a moment, he began to seriously question his decision of trusting a random stranger to lead him through the woods. Yet as Roman turned around to flash a bright smile his way, Janus couldn't help but go along with it. After passing through blurs of orange and yellow, Roman came to an abrupt stop, and Janus had to dig his toes into the ground to keep from colliding with him. Glancing up, he observed a weeping willow, its leaves cascading gently to the forest floor and blazing a bright golden color. It towered above them, blending in with the sky and its assortment of colors that had formed to accompany the shining sun. Janus could have simply stared at the willow for hours without fail, its beauty enchanting him, though he felt a soft tug on his hand and turned to see an eager expression upon Roman's face. Come on, let's go inside. Are you certain this is a good idea? Nope, Roman beamed. But adventure is out there, and we can only find it if we look for it in the first place. I didn't take you to be one for such deep words. Disney reference. A chuckle escaped Janus's lips. Of course, I should have known. He followed close behind Roman, stopping at just the base of the tree. A hesitant look crossed his face as he took a glimpse at the tall, winding branches and flowing leaves. The vines streaming down from the sky seemed as if they could swallow him whole, drowning him in a sea of ochre if he were to step any closer. Instinctively, Janus stepped back as if even being close to the beauty before him could tear him apart. Roman noticed his uncertainty and gave Janus a reassuring smile. I'll go first, he proclaimed, throwing a dramatic spin into his tender words. After all, I must ensure that no dangers await inside our newfound oasis. Dear friend, if I don't return, inform the world of my heroic pursuits. Janus rolled his eyes, smirking. You act like it hasn't only been 45 minutes since we've met. Seems like I've known you all my life, Mr. Curran. I could be certain that we've met before. Once upon a dream. And tell me, when are you going to quit all the Disney references and enter the tree? Or was that just another event to occur once upon this so-called dream you mention? Oh, I can assure you, the ecstasy we are about to uncover will be unlike that of anything you have ever imagined. With that, Roman disappeared into the flowing curtain of the willow, leaving Janus once again alone in the forest. He chuckled to himself, Roman sure was one for flamboyancy. Seconds passed as Janus awaited the other's return, accompanied by gallant dialogue and a bright smile. A faint rustling sounded from behind him, followed by a sudden hand emerging from within the willow's vines. Janus yelped at the unexpected movement, though quickly composed himself and placed a nonchalant expression on his face. A giggle escaped from the depths of the tree. "Gee, you sure are easy to startle, aren't you?" "I don't know what you're talking about," Janus said, still trying to remove the embarrassed blush from his cheeks. "Yes, because an indifferent master such as yourself would never be one to easily surprise. Now, Janus, remarkable individual I encountered 45 minutes ago, do you trust me?" "What? Do you trust me?" "Nope," Janus grinned. "Oh, but why?" "You said it yourself. We've only just encountered each other, and you seriously expect me to trust you?" "It is simply marvelous here, though. You must come in. It's incredible." Roman's head peeked out from the willow's leaves, elation shining in his emerald eyes. He laced his fingers in Janus's own, pulling him past the curtain of leaves and twigs. The willow's twirling vines brushed past his cheek, filling his senses with an array of colors and sounds before he emerged on the other side. It was absolutely magical. Sunlight shone down from the highest depths of the tree, trickling through the air and sweeping past stray tree limbs. Yellow grass covered the ground, encompassing it in a soft carpet of amber. Janus had never seen anything like this before, leaving him gawking at the breathtaking sight that surrounded him. He felt a gentle tug on his wrist, looking up as Roman motioned to the center of the willow. Janus followed, allowing Roman to lead him into the curved trunk of the tree and into the small fork within the branches lying not too far above. A comfortable silence settled between the two, leaving only the soft rustling of golden leaves to fill the air, and together they sat, surrounded by a world of untouched beauty. Hours passed, their newly revealed paradise occasionally filled with soft conversation and laughs. It continued this way until the sun began its descent towards the horizon, covering the sky in a deep crimson. Roman finally broke the recent silence, a soft smile playing across his lips. "So, was it everything you had hoped for?" "That, and so much more," Janus hummed. "That is truly magnificent. I knew we could find you a fairy tale." "Seems more like a dream to me." "How so?" "It all seems too spectacular to be real." Roman chuckled at this. "Well, if I can provide you any reassurance, I'm real." Janus smiled, lacing their fingers together. "That you are." A sudden voice flowed through the air, causing Janus to flinch. It was small and sweet, though a hint of concern could be detected within its cheerful walls. "Roman? Kiddo, are you out here?" Roman's face fell. "Oh gosh, Patton." "Who?" Janus searched Roman's eyes for any sense of emotion, trying to figure out if this Patton was an ally or a threat. "Patton's my best friend. Gosh, I messed up. We were walking through the forest, and I simply took off when I heard your humming. He's probably worried sick." He sighed. "I have to go." "So soon?" "I'm terribly sorry, but I can't just leave him out there. I'm surprised he hasn't formed a search party already." "I do suppose you have no choice. Though I must say, it has been a pleasure partaking in this adventure with you." "It doesn't have to be the last," Roman smirked, stepping towards the cascading leaves. "Come find me again when the day embraces the night." "How am I supposed to know when?" "You're clever, Janus. I expect you'll manage." "Wait!" "May we meet again," Roman whispered, and with that he had disappeared behind the curtain of gold, leaving Janus once again alone in the forest. Janus sat in that tree for a few moments, trying to piece together everything that had just happened. He had no idea of what Roman had meant, but if one thing was for sure, Janus knew this wasn't going to be the last time he would see him. Each day, he arrived at the willow, sitting atop the small crook of the tree, and each day he returned home with no sight of the man. October winds became brisk, nipping at Janus's ankles and brushing across his cheeks. Still, he returned time and time again. Nothing. Until one crisp autumn morning. He had just arrived within the willow, pulling his jacket tight around his shoulders to fight off the chilled temperatures. As he sat down, he could sense the sky darkening, though it made no sense, for it was still early morning. Janus glanced up through an opening within the tree, spotting a shadow overcoming the sun. A ring was formed, painting the forest a brilliant orange. A now onyx sky centered around the eclipsed star, glowing strikingly. Instantly, everything made sense. Words from the past echoed within his mind, clicking together like pieces within a puzzle. Come find me again when the day embraces the night. Before he could even do so much as turn his head, a soft rustling echoed from within the willow leaves, a figure emerging from the newfound darkness. At the sight of auburn hair and emerald eyes, Janus's breath caught in his throat. He'd come back. The sky had begun to brighten again, the seemingly searing ring of fire vanishing just as fast as it had come. Within this, Janus approached Roman hesitantly, not sure what to say. Fortunately, Roman spoke, releasing him from the need to form sentences. "I knew you'd figure it out," he grinned. "Ah, yes, because I would definitely know immediately what to do after being left with nothing but a vague set of instructions from a complete stranger." "You understood eventually. You're standing here now, aren't you?" "That may be true. I should have known you would use something as striking as a solar eclipse to make your return." Roman smirked. "What can I say? I guess I just have a flair for the dramatic." "That you do," Janus muttered. "You know, it's been quite a while since we last talked. I'm sure you would love to share your adventures, Mr. Ashford." "It would be my pleasure, Mr. Curran." "I thought I told you that you needn't be caught up in formalities." "And I thought I told you anything is possible," Roman said, bringing on a quiet laugh from Janus. He took Janus's hands in his own, swiftly twirling him around and swaying within the shelter of the willow. "Remember that day we met, in which you were serenading the forest?" "I may recall such memories." "I think the trees have formed a new song." A delighted smile emerged on Janus's face as he led Roman across the yellow-brown grass, turning and swirling perfectly with each step. "Shall we supply the melody?" "You know I'd never say no to a performance." The creaking of trees supplied a perfect rhythm, guiding them step by step beneath the willow. Each note was extraordinary, filling the autumn air with a soft contentment, and as Janus locked eyes with Roman, he couldn't help but grin. Leaves trickled from the tree's canopy, framing the sky with slivers of gold and adding to the charming composition that flowed through the woods. Suddenly, Janus stopped, Roman almost stumbling with the abrupt pause. "Roman?" "Yes?" "I think I've finally found my fairy tale." "I knew you would." Janus hadn't expected to encounter much when strolling through the forest, though as he had been told once before, anything is possible. This has been May We Meet Again, a short story written by myself. Thank you so much to you all both for listening and for all the kind words you guys have been leaving behind. Now I shall bid you adieu, and I will see you next time for another story.